because I don't want to be a part of a team. I mean, I would say I caucus with the Democrats more. I definitely think the right wing is much more dangerous. They don't believe in democracy anymore, and they threw their lot in with a sociopath named Donald Trump.
Bill Maher has been on a bit of a roll of bad takes of late, just being his typical kind of arrogant self and being really out of touch with what normal people in America are feeling and thinking. He famously was taken down in a great way by Bill Burr on Bill Maher's show. But Bill Maher went on Megyn Kelly's show and he said a lot of things that made sense and kind of pointed out some real flaws with Megyn Kelly's takes. So let's take a look at some of this.
Well, in part, it's a diagnosis of what's going on with us right now. And in part, to me, it picks up on something you said to me shortly before I came on your show after my own cancellation at NBC. And you said, you seem to me, privately, you said, you seem to me kind of like me right now, which is somebody without a political home. And I felt that way. And I still feel that way. I mean, I've been a registered independent forever, but I know exactly what you're saying. Just the world's lost its mind. Yeah. And I certainly would never put on somebody's team jersey anymore.
Right, without a team.
Yep.
Right. And you know what? I like it that way because I don't want to be a part of a team. I mean, I would say I caucus with the Democrats more. I
think that's a great way to look at politics that Bill Maher is bringing up here. This is something that I personally feel myself. I don't feel like either the Democratic Party or the Republican Party represents my views. I have to vote for one or the other because we don't really have much choice. We don't have third parties with any power, but I'm not voting based on the letter next to the person's name. I'm voting on the policies that come closest to my views. And almost always that's picking the lesser of evils. I don't totally buy into the ideology of either side. And I think there are a whole lot of Americans who are like that. They're not on a team. It's not a sports team where, we have so many people where everything their side does is right. Everything the other side does is wrong. And it's strictly based on that letter next to the person's name.
I definitely think the right wing is much more dangerous. They don't believe in democracy anymore, and they threw their lot in with a sociopath named Donald Trump. So, no, he's not.
No, I just I want to talk about your feelings on Trump.
Yeah, well, there you go.
But this is how, so you and I are very similar. I feel like you're kind of a 4 and I'm a 6 on the ideological scale. We have a lot of overlap, but you're definitely still going to vote Democrat, and I'm definitely going to vote Republican. But there's enough commonality to make us shake our heads yes when the other one speaks a lot.
So you're going to vote for Trump?
I am going to vote for Trump, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even understand that. And I understand that Biden is deeply flawed, but he does believe in our way of life. And, I was the one who was saying from the very beginning when everyone was laughing at me that Donald Trump will never give up power. And he didn't. He still hasn't conceded the last election. I don't know what could possibly be more fundamental to you or anyone than you.
And Bill Maher is completely right about this. People can twist themselves into knots with whataboutism. I would like to see neither of these guys be the nominees for president, but here we are. I'm not excited at the idea of the possibility of Joe Biden being president again, but Donald Trump tried to overthrow an election. So people can use all the whataboutism that they want. Democrats haven't tried to change our democracy, and people will say it's not a democracy, it's a constitutional republic, whatever. We still have elections in this country, and the Democrats haven't tried to overthrow those, and Donald Trump did, and his sycophants and the vast majority of the members of the Republican Party in terms of the politicians are going along with that. And Megyn Kelly, it's just amazing to me how these people will lick the boots of Donald Trump. He has said horrible things about her, but she pretends like she's this independent when she's making videos constantly defending and praising Donald Trump.
You have to concede elections. And he hasn't conceded the last one. He's plainly not going to concede this one. He now has all of his sycophants around him parroting his party line, which is when they ask them, will you abide by the election results? Yes, if it's a free and fair election, which is another way of saying if we win. You really think this is a place this country should be?
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to defend the election denialism. I'm not one of those people who believes that.
But what's more important? What kind of country do we have?
How about my daughter not going into a locker room and seeing a man's penis?
That's important too. And
How about young men on college campuses getting due process when they get accused falsely of rape?
Well, I think that's a false equivalency. I think these things
Bullshit. What do you mean?
I think these things are important.
It's absolutely a false equivalency. Megyn Kelly's talking about these social issues. Bill Maher is talking about Donald Trump trying to overthrow an election. There's a huge difference between those two things. Guess what? If Donald Trump gets his way, Republicans get their way with Project 2025 and all of that and the things that they want to do with that, these social issues aren't going to matter. If you're having all kinds of rights taken away and a guy who wants to be a dictator is able to take over the country and stay in power, all these little social issues that people fight over aren't going to matter.
But you can handle these things through the normal due process of our system. But if we lose the system itself, come on.
But we didn't.
Bill Maher's totally right.
We didn't so far.
He tried it?
They didn't, but he tried, and Megyn Kelly wants to vote for him again. It's like, well, he tried to overthrow the government. He didn't succeed, but I'm going to vote for him again. That's insanity.
It failed.
Right. And now he's had 4 years to put in place people who will make it work again.
It failed, and he should have been banished from politics, never able to run again.
I don't know if there'll be a John Ratzenberger in Georgia, a noble Republican who stood up to him. He thought last time that he could count on someone being just a Republican to do his bidding. And what he found out was that there are a lot of decent people who are Republicans, which is something I'm trying to.
That's one thing that, as flawed as our systems are, that there were some Republicans who were terrible in a lot of other ways, who at least stood up in this instance, and we had courts that were able to, as terrible as the courts can be in a lot of ways, that were able to protect the country from some of what Trump wanted to do. And hopefully those institutions are able to stay in place this next time around.
To tell the Democrats all the time, you can hate Trump. You can't hate everybody who likes him. And you certainly can't hate half the country.
Bill Maher's right about
Republicans
that.
is not a byword for bad people. And a lot of them stood up. I mean, even ones who I don't like very much, Mitt Romney, McConnell, obviously Liz Cheney, Chris Christie. There were Mike Pence. These are what I call as good as it gets Republicans, for the people who don't like Republicans.
This is one of the differences to me between left and right is Bill, and I wouldn't say Bill Maher is any kind of a hard left guy, but here he is defending Republicans when they do the right thing. He doesn't think these people are cartoon villains who are 100% evil in every way. But with the right wingers, it's, oh, Hillary, oh, Hunter Biden, these people that you could never, they would never agree with one single thing on because they are these non-humans almost in their eyes.
They full-throatedly said Trump lost that election. Mm-hmm. No two ways about it. McConnell said it wasn't even a particularly close election.
A lot of people said it. But look, I agree with you that the majority of the Republican Party doesn't believe that.
I don't get what's going on with Megyn Kelly's 80s jeans there. Are those back in style, I guess?
But I do think there's a difference between it was stolen, the nonsense with Dominion voting machines and all that, versus it wasn't fair. And
what wasn't fair?
The election. Don't get me started. What wasn't fair?
Okay. Well, the
How
election.
about the suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop story? Just for one.
So here she comes with, yeah, but what about Hunter Biden? That's the right's everything is whataboutism. You can't look at, okay, here's a guy who tried to overthrow an election. Joe Biden and the Democrats did not try to do that. So Megyn Kelly is just engaging in whataboutism here and being on Team Republican, Team Trump.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Really? Oh, then we're not as alike as you think. That's a stupid non-story. I mean, yes,
he's completely right.
There
Bill
are
Maher's
polls that
right.
show some 10 to 12% of the electorate says they would have changed their mind had they seen it, had they known it.
10% of the electorate believes that the earth is flat. So just because 10 to 12% of the people believe in all of these Hunter Biden conspiracies doesn't mean that they are real. I mean, that's just an idiotic thing to say on Megyn Kelly's part.
It wasn't right. It wasn't right to suppress it, but nobody gives a fuck about Hunter Biden's
you
dick.
said nobody. You're talking about yourself.
I mean, he's right. He's wrong there. Bill Maher is wrong, and Megyn Kelly is right. Right wingers are obsessed with this.
I'm telling you, there are data to show people did care. They said they would have changed their vote.
Nobody who was going to vote for Trump anyway, or Biden anyway. I mean,
it wasn't about Hunter Biden's man parts. It was about the scandal of his corruption and his dad's corruption. Bill,
these are not equitable at all things. Like Bill Maher is right that this wasn't going to change any minds. The people that already hated Joe Biden and were MAGA Trump supporters were just waiting for a story like this. And if you want to talk about corruption, I mean, all of the politicians are corrupt. And that's a funny thing that MAGA and the Trump supporters think that Donald Trump is the one person who isn't corrupt when he's one of the most corrupt political figures that we've ever seen. It's just insanity.
I used to think that Hunter Biden was a hot mess and Joe Biden was embarrassed by him but had to deal. Now I really think he was doing Joe Biden's bidding. Joe Biden is the bad guy who sent his drug-addled son out there to collect money. That's what the laptop shows.
And that's more important than what I was bringing up about not abiding by election results, not respecting what always made this country great, the peaceful transference of power.
I don't disagree with you on that. You're not going to get me to say it was a great thing.
But Megyn Kelly is trying to make the two things equitable, and they aren't. Joe Biden might be a terrible person. I mean, if you want to say we have two terrible people running for president, hey, I'm not going to disagree with that. We should have, in a country of 330 million people, we should have much better candidates to choose from. I mean, it's depressing that Donald Trump and Joe Biden are the best that we can do, apparently, in the richest, most powerful country in the world. But Bill Maher is saying this is a guy who tried to overthrow an election and is putting everything in place to try to do it again. And Megyn Kelly is saying, yeah, but what about Hunter Biden? The two just are not equitable. And this is where we get into this team nonsense. But what do you think? Who do you agree with here? Do you agree with Bill Maher? Do you agree with Megyn Kelly? Are neither of them right? Make sure to give me a like and subscribe. Give me your comments. And I will see you in the next video.